All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Tuesday. And just a quick lineup schedule for you later on this week. Of course, tomorrow we have Michael Avenatti, who's going to be joining us. Big news. He released some more documents that show that Nike has paid, allegedly, middle school basketball players at that young of age, talking 11, 12, 13-year-olds. It's unbelievable. So we'll get to that tomorrow. Will be interesting. And also on the show, we'll be joined by Tony Sanchez, UNLV football coach, joining us in the third hour. So this is a really cool story. Really a lot of fun. Las Vegas Ballpark, they have only been operating for one full season, and they've already been chosen for one of AAA baseball's biggest stages next year. It's the Pacific Coast and International League that made the announcement that Las Vegas Ballpark will host the 2020 AAA National Championship game. So this is Pat O'Connor, minor league baseball president, commenting on hosting this 2020 championship.
We're very happy to be a part of what's happening here on a regular basis, and we really look forward to coming back September 22nd of next year for the national championship game.
This is really some exciting stuff. So joining us on the line right now, and by the way, I've been to so many Aviators games this year. Can't say enough good things about the ballpark, about the staff, great franchise, so much fun, such a great area. Joining us right now on the line is Jim Gemma, Communications Director for the Aviators. Jim, thanks so much for coming on. How are you?
What's up, Jim?
Brian, JD, thanks for having me on. I hope you guys are enjoying your new time slot. I know I am. I can listen to much more of your show.
I appreciate that. I am getting used to waking up early in the morning. I can't have those crazy Vegas nights like I used to, but we'll get used to it. We'll be okay. But anyway, thanks so much for joining us here on such short notice. So, Jim, this is really exciting. I mean, we all know how beautiful this ballpark is, but did you expect them to make this decision so soon?
Well, it's somewhat like the WNBA already came to Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay. It's really not very surprising that this was going to happen. Maybe not as soon as next year, but obviously pretty quick after that. So, this year's version will be on FS1 on Tuesday, September 15th, after the PCL and the International League's playoffs are done. It's literally like 2 days later. It's a one-game thing. It's kind of a neat thing. Memphis has hosted it a few times, and they do a real good job. AutoZone Park is a beautiful ballpark.
Yeah, no question. Well, we look forward to that. It's going to be a fun game and just another great event that we're going to be hosting here in Las Vegas. Jim, I want to talk to you about this story, this Nathan Peterson story, and maybe you could give us a little bit more background on it. But this is a kid who's at a ballpark who's just throwing in it and gets radar, just throwing a ball, just having some fun as a baseball fan, and he's clocked at 96 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden, the Oakland A's franchise says, hey, we need to sign this kid and see what he can do. Can you kind of give us the background story on this, and then we'll talk a little bit about his performance last night?
Well, first of all, it's a gift when you can throw that hard. I don't know if anybody's probably have gone to like a place where there's a ray gun and you throw it and you think you really threw it hard, and it says 64. And it's amazing. All these guys in AAA, these guys are running it up 96 to 98. It's crazy how hard these guys throw now. So it is a gift. But with that being said, if you throw hard, it's still, you got to have the mechanics of pitching and all that good stuff. So I kind of don't blame the A's for taking a chance, because not everyone can throw that hard. Yeah,
no question. So last night he makes his sort of professional debut, right? It was a rookie level Arizona League game. He struck out all three batters, and he said after the game last night was incredible and truly a blessing as I made my first professional outing. I mean, this is a pretty good start for this kid. Is it out of the realm of possibility, Jim, to think to yourself that in the next 12 months he could be on an Aviators roster?
Well, obviously, they're Oakland A's employees, so we, as Aviators front office, we have zero input and have nothing to do with what the roster is that comes out here each night. But the odds of him coming up in the Pacific Coast League, obviously I would assume they're going to start him in the California League. I mean, that's where Kyler Murray was going to go. Somebody of that skilled level, he was a first-round pick of the A's, of course. He's going to play football, which, you can't blame him at all. But he was probably going to start out in the California League. So that shows you how advanced AAA baseball is. So yeah. I know I can't speak for Billy Beane and the minor league development folks, I would assume he would go to the California League next year.
Isn't this kind of a movie script, though? I mean, I know this is kind of a hypothetical, Jim, and I totally understand that. But, hypothetically speaking, if this turns out the way maybe it can, you never know. 3 years from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, if this kid does get a start in the majors, and I think that is a possibility. Obviously, he's got a long way to go, but if that does happen, I just see this as a movie script. I mean, this is like a dream come true, so to speak. It's almost like Rookie of the Year or something like that, where I could see this being a Hollywood movie and maybe Billy Beane, gets another Brad Pitt performance. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be, again, it is a gift when you can throw that hard. Now, honing in mechanics, I mean, guys, I mean, you go to the games here, PCL is so good. These guys got 3-4 different pitches.
Right.
And these guys are so good, even if you're throwing a fastball, these guys are going to time it and they're going to clock it. I mean, but, I don't know what other pitches he has, but, again, it'll be, like you said, it'll be interesting to see down the road a year or two from now.
If you're just joining us, Jim Gemma with the Aviators. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this Aviator season, the new ballpark and everything. We knew, at least people in the media, most people knew, that, the crowd support would be fantastic for the first few weeks. And then the question was, well, it might die down. Now, I certainly was not one of those people. The first time I went to that ballpark on opening night, I said to myself, this is going to be an unbelievable success. The area is fantastic. You're right next to Red Rock, downtown Summerlin. The ballpark looks like a major league ballpark. It's got that kind of feeling. And I said to myself, there is going to be a lot of consistency here. But even, I ask you this question, even you, Jim, did you think that you would have this type of consistency with the fan support and ticket sales for the entire season?
No. I mean, obviously, if someone in our front office said, probably tonight or tomorrow we're going to hit the 600,000 mark in attendance. Obviously, we still lead all minor league baseball. There's 3 markets in the internationally are up over 500,000. A couple in the PCL, Round Rock, Sacramento, up over 500,000. But to hit 600,000 in August 20th or 21st, no, with 42 sellouts. I thought we'd do really well this year. The season ticket base tripled from Cashman Field, but it's just been consistent the whole year, and it does help when you have a good product on the field. It really does help. I know the ambiance of minor league baseball, you have all this other stuff, but it does help to have a winning product on the field. That certainly hasn't hurt.
Now, 2 questions. One, did I see it right, or did Matt Harvey pitch a couple of days ago for the Aviators?
The Dark Knight is in Las Vegas, and I've dealt with him on a couple occasions, and he's been great. I met with him when he's with the Mets when they played here for Big League Weekend. Matt Harvey, it has been great to deal with. He pitched 4 shutout innings the other night. He was with the Angels. The Angels released him. The A's picked him up, and I don't blame Oakland. Why not? He signed a minor league deal, and he's going to pitch again in Tacoma when we go on the road on Friday. So we'll see how things all play out for Matt here in the last couple of weeks. He pitched well the other night. He's sitting in the low 90s, and he didn't walk a batter. So, I mean, it's crazy how things change sometimes in life. He was a monster pitcher. He's probably one of the best pitchers in all of baseball until he got hurt.
And he had a huge college career, too. And the second question, the success the Aviators have had in their first year, do you think that translates to how well an MLB team would do in Las Vegas?
Well, what happens, there's been some misnomers, not by your show, but some other radio stations, which I won't name. What happens is, if and when an MLB comes to town, the AAA team relocates. So they become the Tucson Aviators or the Imperial Valley Aviators, wherever they would go. They would get a huge payout to relocate. 25 years ago, when the Phoenix Firebirds had to go to Fresno, Jerry Colangelo had to pay them $7 million to, quote unquote, relocate. So, it's just apples and oranges. Obviously, you'd have to build something that Arizona has down there, a retractable roof, and that's $500 million. So I don't know who's coming up with all that money, but it's just a different animal. So I still think the NBA is coming sooner than later because it's a turnkey at T-Mobile. They can play right away. I'm not sure what would happen with MLB. Now you're going to have the NFL. So, you're talking 81 dates, so you have to build a standalone facility like the Arizona Diamondbacks have because of the heat. You have to have a retractable roof, and that is a lot of money.
Personally, myself, I'm just looking forward to it. I'm trying to push a professional roller derby female team in Las Vegas. I'm still waiting for that day to happen. But anyway, if you're just joining us, Jim Gemma with the Aviators. Geez, I almost said the 51s there for a second.
That's just all right. We still say it now and then.
Fair enough. Okay, so Jim, now moving forward with this season, talk to me about how many games you got left on on the schedule, and of course, looking into postseason play. How can people buy tickets to that? I would imagine if you're a season ticket holder, you got your seat locked in if you choose to do that, correct?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's 126 games through today. We got 14 games left, and El Paso and Las Vegas are tied at 74 and 52. So I assume this is going to go right down to the end of the year, which is Labor Day weekend. I believe the single-game playoff tickets go on sale next week. Obviously, we'll be sending stuff out on that. And like you said, season ticket holders will have an option to purchase. So, the PCL playoffs will start September 4th. The regular season ends on the 2nd, so it's kind of still to be determined. As it's crazy, you play all these games and we're tied for first.
So Kyler Murray looked absolutely horrendous in his preseason game against the Raiders a couple of days ago. If he decides to quit football, just flames out as a terrible career, which I think he actually could, would the A's still have rights to him?
Yeah, the A's still have his rights. What I've seen some video of him, I think he's an excellent baseball player. And you can't blame him for trying to go for the NFL route. But I think that's still an option for him because, you can't teach speed, and he's a center fielder. I believe he was a center fielder at the University of Oklahoma. And he's a very good baseball player. But it's tough when you don't play for a year or two. This batting is so much timing. But, I think down the road, the A's still retain his rights as far as I know.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jim, I always appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on short notice, my man. Look forward to being out there at the ballpark. I can't even talk at this point. That's what happens when you do 3 hours of radio every day. But anyway, Jim, thanks so much for coming on, my man. Always appreciate it. We'll see you out there at the ballpark soon, okay?
Thanks for having me on. Take care, JD.
All right.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jim.
All right, Jim, have a good one. There you go. Jim Gemma from the Aviators joining us right now on the GCI Guys hotline.
He didn't tell you to take care, Brian.
That's okay.
He only told me to take care.
It's all right. It's fine. I won't take that as negative. You're just a very negative person. I don't know why. Anyway.
I'm not.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, guys, this is unbelievable. As we all know, marijuana, you can buy it legal as long as it's not by a personal provider, of course, but they have these all over Las Vegas where you can buy it legally. But now cannabis restaurants are coming to California. Are we going to see this in Nevada anytime soon, where you can sit down, you have a waiter, and you order some edibles? This is crazy stuff. Crazy times we're living in, folks. We're going to talk about this when we come back. You're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. By the way, a reminder, tomorrow, Michael Avenatti. Yeah, if you haven't known, folks, he's kind of been in the news over the last few days with these court filings that have been put into place in regards to this Nike scandal situation. A report came out today. Yahoo Sports did an article about it. Apparently, allegedly, Michael Avenatti in paperwork has proof that Nike has paid middle school basketball players. That's right. They have bribed and paid middle school basketball players to wear their Nike products. It is unbelievable. I'm telling you, this story is just blowing up every day. It's getting bigger and bigger. And eventually, if Michael Avenatti is not convicted of a crime in this Nike situation, are Nike the big losers in this thing? This makes them look really, really bad. It involves some of the highest college coaches, most popular coaches in the world, including Mike Krzyzewski, John Calipari, and right here in Las Vegas, former UNLV head coach Marvin Menzies when it comes to Brandon McCoy. Apparently, Michael Avenatti has text messages. He has bank accounts. He has what he says, quote, 100% proof that these players were paid off by Nike, and it starts at the middle school level, which absolutely and positively disgusts me.
It is kind of gross, but I'm not shocked. There's been a lot of middle school kids. LeBron James' son actually got a couple of offers in middle school.
Yeah, I just think it's absurd.
That have been getting offers for a long time, but what this proves is that Michael Avenatti is very much relevant, despite the fact what Donald Trump Jr., Ben Shapiro, and other political pundits on the conservative side believe not to be the case.
I wouldn't even call Don Jr. a political pundit. He's just an idiot. Or as Michael Avenatti says, the Lucky Sperm Club. Don Jr., also known as Biff, has never accomplished anything in his life. What has he ever accomplished in his life besides being the Donald Trump's son? What else has he done in his life? He's done nothing, and I talk to people all the time. We had Amy Tarkanian in studio.
I believe he is a father of 4, which is somewhat of an accomplishment.
Yeah. How has that worked out with the marriage situation? Anyway, we had Amy Tarkanian in studio, who she's a pretty respected Republican, I guess you could say, in Nevada. And she said, "Oh, I really like Don Jr." And I looked at her, and this was live on the air, and I said, "What has Don Jr. accomplished in his life? Name me one accomplishment." She couldn't name me one. How do you respect somebody like that? How? This is the son of the president of the United States. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent here. I can talk about that, the Trump family, forever. But I wanted to get to this story because I think it's pretty interesting. As you know, that marijuana, there are dispensaries all over Las Vegas where it is legal, and it is in many other parts of the country as well. So now California is coming up with cannabis restaurants. That's right. Hey, you want to go get a tuna sandwich for lunch? No, I want to get some cannabis. Can we sit down and get something to eat? Yeah, that's what's going to happen here. Apparently, they're called bud tenders.
Bud tenders?
Bud tenders. Yes, that's what they are going to be
I do kind of
called.
like the play on words. That's somewhat intelligent.
Some in the industry call them other things, but apparently they will help guests at the soon-to-open Lowell Farms Cannabis Cafe. Unbelievable. We're talking about a real restaurant. They're also going to serve regular food that does not have marijuana in it, but they will have a long laundry list, so to speak, of marijuana-induced, I guess you would call that, food that you can eat at lunch. Now, here's where I'm a little bit skeptical about all this stuff. Just like when you go to a bar, right, and you drink at a bar, and it's the bartender has the responsibility to cut you off. I would imagine that there's going to be responsibility for these bud tenders to do the same thing. But, listen, marijuana is a pretty safe drug, but if you overdose on marijuana or you have too much of it, you cannot be driving a vehicle. So I wonder, and I sadly I will say this.
And I just heard an ad for that.
Sadly, it's going to happen, where somebody is going to maybe go to one of these cannabis restaurants and have way too much, as far as from the edible standpoint, maybe cause an accident and, God forbid, hurt or kill somebody. Then, what's going to happen then?
Well, will the bud tender be high as well?
I doubt that. They're going to be working.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I don't believe they're going to have great turnover. It's going to be hard to get someone off their seat and out of the restaurant. Are they going to charge an hourly fee for that?
I don't know.
When you eat an edible and you get the munchies again, are they going to have people eat 4 or 5 meals in a 6-hour span? I mean, how is it going to work logistically?
Well, John Leonard, who is the city's community and legislative affairs manager, said a lot of people in this city are renters and they may not be able to smoke in their apartments. They're forced to smoke in public places or smoke in their cars, and they face a greater risk of being arrested for that. So he's, making the case why these restaurants work, why they make a lot of sense.
Well, there's a difference between a lounge where you just kind of sit in couches and smoke weed together and an actual restaurant where you're ordering food and you can order food with marijuana in it. I'm not sure he understands the distinction between those two things.
First time I ever took edibles, night before I was doing a radio show. And I was doing a radio show very early in the morning. And it was in the shape of like a Coke bottle, a very small Coke bottle. And it was like $30, by the way. And I did not read the fine line. I had never taken an edible before in my life. This was legal. And I drank the whole bottle. Now, I did it from the privacy and safe place of my own home. And I got to tell you something. Within an hour, I was dizzy. The room was turning. I could not drive to work the next day. And we're talking 8 hours later. And I was told, by somebody, I said, "Hey, what happened here, man? I drank this soda." It was like a small Coke bottle, right? And the guy's like, "You drank the whole thing?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You're only supposed to have like one little itty bitty sip." I didn't know. I didn't read the fine line. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I'd never done that before.
That is wonderful.
I could not do the radio show the next day.
I'm very happy that I know that story.
I had to call in sick. I called my boss. I didn't tell him that, "Hey, listen, man, I'm high. I can't come in." But I honestly, I couldn't do the radio show the next day. And that was the only time I ever took edibles, and I will never take it again.
Yeah, I have one experience as well. I was at a nightclub in Omaha, Nebraska 2 years ago before the College World Series. I had a piece, like an actual piece of rock candy that was an edible, and I ate it, and I literally couldn't even be out in public.
Well, you can't do that now anyway.
For about a day.
Oh, okay.
I was completely paranoid. I saw things I'd never seen, but I mean...
What did you see?
Just crazy things.
Well, give me an example.
I just saw crazy things.
What did you see? Did you see a stripper with like unicorn, a unicorn stripper?
I would absolutely never, ever have an edible again.
So you won't tell me what you saw?
Unless I took a high-powered... Maybe I had a high-powered edible that I didn't know it was that powerful. But I literally, when I was walking around in public, I just kept smiling and laughing. I could not talk to anybody.
Well, I wish you did that every day.
No,
You'd be much more
it was
pleasant.
completely unreasonable. It didn't make any sense to me.
It sounds to me like you're a much more fun person when you're high.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, you say you're laughing. I mean, you sound like a lot of fun.
I was just laughing uncontrollably, just walking around in circles.
And you just took one of these little rocks.
It wasn't a little rock. It was a good sized piece of
Are
candy.
you sure it wasn't a crack rock?
I'm almost positive it was not a crack rock.
But you're not 100% positive.
It was not a crack rock.
You might have had a crack rock, and you don't even understand. You don't even know.
It was definitely some type of marijuana edible. And I had it 2 years ago. 2 years ago, totally illegally, by the way.
Okay, so
in
that's
Omaha,
why.
Nebraska.
But this is kind of a serious question now. You purchased it illegally.
No, I didn't purchase it. I was given it. I was given it. Yes.
How do you know that was marijuana?
The guy that gave it to me was a popular marijuana edible distributor.
You care to give out his name on the air?
I do not care to do that.
Well, you don't know what was in that rock. You have no idea. It could have been an insolent rock. You have no idea what was in that rock. You have no idea.
Anyways, I ate the rock, and I couldn't be out in public for about 16 hours, and I was literally walking around in circles just smiling at people, very, very paranoid about everything. That was my experience with an edible, and I will not do it again.
I don't think that. I think it's against FCC regulations to be drunk on the air or to be high. But, boy, that would be a fun show if you did take that same rock. I'm wondering if you'd still be a Trump supporter. We got to take a break.
That would be an exclusive podcast.
Boy, you'd be a Trump basher.
A non-FCC exclusive podcast.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take your phone calls, 257-5396. What do you think about these edible diners that could be coming to Vegas? 257-5396. Be back after this.